I don't mind you coming here, wasting all my time. 'Cause when you're standing oh so near, I kinda lose my mind. It's not the perfume that you wear, it's not the ribbons in your hair. Wasting all my time.
I'm just gonna tell you guys this, so I don't have to get a call here later. Come back. The guy that owns this section doesn't want me here. I can almost guarantee he doesn't want me to play in a band here. Okay, so you know definitely move. Yeah. Okay. So now that we're on the same page, we should definitely leave. Yeah. So I don't have to come back because the phone call. Fair enough.
I never knew that playing music in the street would get you
Get you in trouble, man. That's rock and roll is still a countercultural movement. Wait, where's he going? I'm not done.
Now, we have more open mic royalty. We have Vinny Huevos.
And early in high school, we didn't have our licenses yet. It was a snow day, me and my brother played with our drummer, and the drummer's like, "Well, we can't practice today. You know, it's snow. You can't even drive." So we put our amps and guitars on a sled and went 2 miles to his house. And kind of without thinking about it too much, kind of like not realizing that was probably a value I had, and you know, I always took jobs that worked around it, and that, as you know, talk about being sustainable and practical, and you know, not wanting to suffer too much, you know, had to you know, find better ways to make money, and that gave me more flexibility, and that was good. And then as I was doing sound jobs, I was going into like Manhattan, doing like sound for like jazz bands and making pretty good money, but like the people would rent the hall till 4 a.m. and the band would play till 4 a.m. and you know, it's like, I can't break down this whole sound system in 0 minutes and 0 seconds. And the guys who rented the hall would be like, "Yeah, we want to go home. You got this till," you know. So just crazy stuff, crazy stuff. So moved in with my grandmother. I take care of her because it would cost $2,800 a week for a live-in nurse. She gives me $140 a week, so I get to live there for free. I cut her lawn and make sure she doesn't fall down the stairs, and you know, I live real lean. I started working for this singer-songwriter, and I showed up at the first practice, and the drummer had egg shakers. Because it was an acoustic practice, and I said, "Hey, man," he was from Peru. So I was like, "Hey, man, nice huevos." And we were like, we should make a band called Los Huevos. And then we actually broke away from the singer-songwriter because he was a narcissistic, self-absorbed piece of garbage. and started our own band.
And that's him on a nice day.
The paradigm, it's probably not the right word, but the paradigm everyone has for like how a band works is just not how we work at all. And this is more of a music collective. So kind of like the Decemberists or Bright Eyes or World Inferno Friendship Society or the Plastic Ono Band. It's kind of like I have regular guys I play with. Usually in New Paltz, I play with my bass player Jacob. He's not feeling that great, so I got my bass player coming from Monroe, New York, especially since he has nothing to do on Thursdays anymore. So he's coming up tonight. So my friend Rulon's gonna play bass tonight. I played with Pat Anger for a while, and he is a great guy. He's in like 6 bands, and it just makes more, instead of like trying to chase down someone that's kind of busy. And he was a prince. He was making time for me. But like Steve is here. Steve like loves to play the drums. Steve, has anyone seen Steve? There he is. We used to try to like practice stuff, and it just works better. And it's like, just get on stage with me. I'll give you a few bars of how it goes. You figure out the rest. And it's just, that's when it's really magical. Because when you try to like practice it and like make sure you get this transition and make sure you're playing loud here and quiet here, it just gets so sterile. And I included stuff where we made money. It became about the money, and then they wouldn't do stuff that wasn't for money that would have grown the band, and it dead ended. Like there's so many learning curves going on, and so I mean, this band has been fairly like nice fan bases like 3 times and lost it 3 times, and I've learned stuff like the infrastructure of the band needs to be strong enough. Like the band was doing good, we had a lot of fans. I was like, let's do more shows, and I thought the band members would see the success and then be into working more, and that's not the case. So at this point, before I'm pushing for a fan base, I'm building a stronger infrastructure, like business plan. Unless you have a lot of connections or you have a bazillion friends that can come see you all the time, you don't have to, for example, drive 70 miles to go meet people. Unless you have the perfect set of circumstances, it takes a lot of work to do this. And most people last a couple months, sometimes a couple of years, or they do it, but they never can really take it. So you either sink or you float. It's so tricky and it's so hard and it takes so much work that it's extremely fulfilling. It's extremely fulfilling, and the journey really is the destination at this point.